Welcome to Street Stories, a podcast of real, raw, and unfiltered stories of homelessness told by Skip Finkfish, founder and pastor of Word on the Street Homeless Ministries. Please be advised these stories are for a mature audience. Our goal is to bring you as close to the reality of homelessness as we can, one story at a time.
I like to walk along railroad tracks. One of my favorite things to do when I'm in Richmond is to walk along the tracks with Pastor James up there, my cohort, Word on the Street, Richmond. There's some railroad tracks that run right through the center of Orlando, downtown. And I like to walk along those tracks because I find people quite often, actually, where they'll come onto the railroad tracks at a particular intersection, and then they'll work their way down. A lot of times, if there's like office buildings along the tracks, they'll have a retaining wall. Not a retaining wall, but like a border wall along their parking lot. So you got the building, the parking lot, and then a wall that's only about maybe 6-8 feet from the edge of the tracks. And in that space, up against that wall, between the tracks and the wall, you can find people with their cardboard, or what they'll do is they'll attach maybe some boards, angle some boards to the wall down to the stone on the edge of the railroad tracks, and then they'll lay a tarp over top of it or something like that. Also, here and there are trees along the tracks, and so they'll get up under the tree against the wall. There's something about having the privacy and the security of that wall, even if you're open air. Laying a piece of cardboard down and sleeping with your back up against the wall, at least that part is protected, and you're awake and you're facing railroad tracks, so you got trains coming by, but not pedestrians or not people. So it's different than sleeping on the sidewalk at night, up against on the sidewalk and up against a building to try to keep warm on the street. So walking down the tracks in the middle of Orlando, rainy afternoon, and up a little ways I saw a tarp kind of bunched up and on the stones right beside the track. So you have, I don't know if you've ever walked on the railroad track, but you got a bed of stones, and then you've got the trusses, and then you've got the tracks that are on top of that, and the stones usually come down and come out several feet from the edge of the track. So there was a bunched up tarp, blue tarp, right on the stones up against the edge of the track, and there was a border wall for a business there. And I thought maybe it was just somebody's tarp that had blown over there and was just in a bunch. So I walked down, it was probably 50 yards from the intersection, and I walked down there to pick up the tarp and fold it and lay it against the wall, and see if I could find a person anywhere that might have been camping along there. And when I got to the tarp, it seemed to me like it might have been something under it, not just open and bunched up with like air under it or whatever. So rather than just pick it up to start folding it like I normally would do, I just got down and I just picked up a corner of the tarp to look underneath, and sure enough, there was a lady, I'd say 30s, laying underneath the tarp. I will not use her name, not even her first name. Let's call her track lady. Let's call her track lady. So I happened to pick up the tarp at where her head was, and she looked up at me, and she had been bawling. I mean, her face was wet with tears, and she was very poorly dressed. Her hair was a mess. She was homeless, but it was more than that. She started to cry and she started to scream at me in fear. How did you find me? How did you find me? How did you find me? And I said, I don't know what you're running from or what you're afraid of, but I didn't find you. I didn't come to find you. I just came across you as I'm walking down the tracks. So I got her to stop crying, and I got her out from underneath the tarp, and I got her over against the border wall there between the tracks. Some trains were coming by. It's only like it's only like 8 feet, to the train passing by us. Long story short, this is a woman who was she was a prostitute. She was tricking the dealer. Basically, was her pimp as well. And she was tricking for drugs through the dealer. So the dealer would put her with someone, and they would pay him for her, and then when she was done, she would get her fix. Cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, whatever the case might happen to be. This is a real thing that happens on a regular basis, by the way. This is happening every day, and it may be happening in your town, in your city. If you hear the chickens, I apologize. We're at my home, my log cabin that I live in, and I have chickens out back, and they are making noise right now while I'm trying to talk. Forgive me. If you can concentrate. So anyway, long story short, she was scared. She was running. She was running from her drug dealer pimp person. I don't even want to call him a man, because that's anyway. I have a loathing for that kind of individual. She needed the fix. She was very strung out. She was scared. She was petrified. She thought that she was being found. So we have a situation here where the dealer was not only pimping her, he was also recording her and selling the porn. So she was being trafficked. She was being pimped. She was being strung out on drugs. She was being recorded, and the recordings were being sold for prostitution. And she was laying underneath that tarp at the edge of the tracks, because she was literally waiting for a train so that she could roll out from under the tarp onto the track when the train came by, because she was bound and determined not to exist that way anymore. She was ready to take her life. I just happened to, by chance, which I don't believe in, come by at that time and see that tarp and walk down there to investigate. Long story short, I have made phone calls. I have gotten her in contact with proper individuals who can help her. She is getting help, and she is safe today, and she is safe as long as she can't be found. So her life is completely changed. This is not an abnormal thing in America today. Women are being trafficked daily. Girls are being trafficked daily. Boys are being trafficked daily. This is a real thing that is happening around you. A drug dealer will find a homeless woman. He will get her addicted, and then he will traffic her for the addiction, and then he will make money off of trafficking her. Yes, there are those kinds of people, and yes, that is not an abnormal thing. It's an abnormal thing, but it's part of this world's normal in this particular life. Please pray. If you're a praying individual, pray to the Lord Jesus Christ that he would continue to help me to come across by accident tarp after tarp after tarp. I will go. I need you to send me. I need you to help me to be able to go. And I also need to be able to know that I'm depending on you when I do go. Because I come across and I have contact with and I have conflict with the dealers. Some know me, some come to know me, and it can be a challenging, I'm not going to over dramatize it, but it can be a serious situation when I get between the trafficked individual and the trafficker, and I step in between on purpose, intentionally, because somebody's got to step in between. So, long story, let you know, the trafficked lady is not being trafficked at the moment. She's having problems with her emotions, with her thought process, and may for a long time, I don't know. But I can tell you that she is being taken care of and that she is safe. God help us. God help us.
Thank you for watching this episode of Street Stories, brought to you by Word on the Street Homeless Ministries. Please follow us on Facebook at Watts for Homeless and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Watts for Homeless. If you would like to learn more information about our ministry here in Orlando, Florida, you can visit us at wattsforhomeless.com. And if you would like to be a monthly donor or give a one-time donation, you can visit wattsforhomeless.com/give. Thank you.